Welcome, dear friends. Today I am going to tell you a story of heartbreak, betrayal, and an unexpected twist of fate in the most unlikely of circumstances. Enjoy the story. Anna stared at her husband Andrew in disbelief as he lounged on the couch, a distant look in his eyes. "I'm just so tired lately, Anna. I think I might be depressed. I need to rest and recharge." She crossed her arms, frustration rising in her voice. "But Andrew, we've been saving up for months to take a beach vacation together. You know how much I've been looking forward to it." Andrew sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. I know. But you couldn't even get the time off work. Why should we both have to wait? I need this break now." Anna's eyes flashed with anger. "Are you serious right now? You deliberately took your vacation days when you knew I couldn't get away from the office. And now you're just going to leave me behind? How is that fair?" "Oh, don't be so dramatic," Andrew snapped. "You're always nagging. I'm sick and tired of this cold weather. I just want to relax on the beach like we planned. Is that too much to ask?" Anna opened her mouth to retort, but no words came out. She spun on her heel and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. The next morning, Anna watched incredulously as Andrew packed his suitcase, whistling a cheerful tune. He was really going through with this, leaving her behind to go on their dream vacation alone. "I can't believe you," she said quietly from the doorway. "We saved that money together. If you insist on going without me, you should only take half of it." Andrew paused and looked at her, exasperated. "Really, Anna? You want me to split our vacation fund? What if it's not enough and I get stranded in a foreign country? Do you want me to have a nervous breakdown?" Anna pressed her lips together tightly, too choked up with resentment to respond. Andrew zipped up his suitcase. "Look, I'm going to the beach to relax, just like we planned. I'm sorry you can't come, but I need this. Try not to be too bored while I'm gone." With that, he grabbed his bags and headed out. Anna fled to the bedroom, unable to watch him walk out the door. The pain of his betrayal stung more than she ever imagined possible. The sound of the front door slamming made Anna flinch. Andrew had really left without so much as a goodbye. Suddenly, she noticed his phone on the coffee table, forgotten in his rush to abandon her. The screen lit up with a new message preview. "Honey, I'm at the airport cafe waiting for you. Can't wait to—" Anna's heart seized. Honey? Airport cafe? What the hell was going on? Just then, Andrew burst back into the apartment, snatching up his phone. He gave Anna a distracted peck on the cheek. "Forgot my phone. All right, don't have too much fun without me. See you in 2 weeks." He disappeared out the door again before she could react. Anna stood frozen for a long moment, her mind reeling. Then, in a burst of frantic energy, she ran to the closet, throwing on clothes as fast as she could. She raced outside to hail a taxi, determined to get to the bottom of this. Anna rushed into the airport terminal, her eyes scanning the crowds. It didn't take long to spot them. Andrew and a younger woman, giggling and hanging on each other like love-struck teenagers. Anna ducked behind a large potted plant, her hand covering her mouth in shock. Her husband, her lying, cheating husband, was taking his mistress on a romantic beach getaway, and he was using the money they had saved together to do it. Money she had earned while he complained about being too depressed to work. Hot tears pricked at Anna's eyes as the terrible truth washed over her. Andrew expected her to just wait patiently at home for 2 weeks, working to pay the bills, while he wined and dined his lover on the vacation meant for their marriage. She had no one to turn to with her parents recently passed, and Andrew isolating her from friends. Anna debated confronting them right there in the middle of the airport. But just as she stepped out from her hiding place, the overhead announcements called for their flight to begin boarding. She watched, paralyzed, as Andrew and his mistress scurried off hand in hand towards the gate. Anna couldn't hold back any longer. She ran out of the airport into the frosty air, tears streaming down her face, not caring as she bumped into irritated travelers. The pain of betrayal consumed her. Blinded by her tears, Anna stumbled into a nearby alley and collapsed onto a snow-covered bench. Violent sobs racked her body as the weight of Andrew's deception truly hit her. How could he do this? How could he throw away their marriage so callously? Time passed in a haze of anguish, and Anna barely noticed the snow falling more heavily around her. The blizzard reflected the turmoil in her broken heart. Eventually, the cold seeped into her bones, rousing her from her anguished stupor. She stood stiffly, brushing fresh snow from her coat. "Spare some change, miss." A strained voice startled Anna, and she whirled around to see a hunched figure sitting against the alley wall, buried in a worn sleeping bag. Judging by his disheveled appearance, he was likely homeless. "Let me guess. You need money for booze?" Anna laughed bitterly, her voice raw from crying. The irony of a stranger begging her for money after her husband stole their savings was not lost on her. The man shook his head. "No, miss. Just something to eat if you can spare it. It's been a tough go out here," he replied wearily, not bothering to elaborate on his dire circumstances. Anna paused, suddenly overwhelmed by a reckless impulse. Before she could second-guess herself, the words tumbled out. "Actually, I was just heading home to make some dinner. Care to join me? It'll be warmer than this alley, and I always make too much for one person anyway." The homeless man's eyes widened in surprise, but he nodded gratefully and struggled to stand. Anna helped him up, and together they slowly made their way out of the alley, two lost souls adrift in the unforgiving winter. "Please, come in," Anna said, ushering the man into her small but cozy apartment. "Make yourself at home. I'll heat up some leftover chicken soup." "Thank you kindly, miss. I surely appreciate it," he replied, stomping snow off his threadbare boots. "Would you mind if I used your bathroom to clean up a bit? It's been a while since I've had the chance for a proper shower." Anna nodded, pointing him down the hall. "Of course, take your time. There are clean towels in the cupboard." As her unexpected guest disappeared into the bathroom, Anna busied herself in the kitchen, ladling soup into bowls with shaky hands. The reality of inviting a complete stranger into her home suddenly hit her. What was she thinking? She must be losing it over Andrew's betrayal. The bathroom door opened, and Anna turned to see the man emerge, clean-shaven and wearing a fluffy bathrobe. She did a double take, realizing he was much younger than she initially thought, maybe in his mid-30s, and surprisingly handsome beneath the grime and overgrown beard. "I hope you don't mind me borrowing a robe," he said sheepishly, running a hand through his damp hair. "It feels amazing to be clean again." "Not at all," Anna replied, setting the bowls of soup on her small kitchen table. "I'm just glad I can help, though I must admit you clean up pretty well for being for being in a rough situation," she finished awkwardly. The man chuckled as he sat down. "I suppose I owe you an explanation. The truth is, I'm not actually homeless. Just down on my luck after trusting the wrong people. Got myself into a bit of a jam that I'm still trying to sort out." He glanced around, his eyes landing on Anna's laptop sitting on the counter. "I know it's a lot to ask, but is there any chance I could borrow your computer for a couple hours tonight? It would be a huge help while I try to get back on my feet. I promise I'll explain more over dinner." Anna hesitated briefly, but found herself nodding. The man seemed sincere, and her gut told her to trust him, despite the crazy circumstances. "Sure, we can talk more while we eat. I'm Anna, by the way." "Nice to meet you, Anna. I'm Kyle," he replied with a grateful smile. As they ate, Anna found herself studying Kyle discreetly over the rim of her soup bowl. He was quite attractive, with broad shoulders, strong hands, and well-groomed nails that didn't fit with his claims of being down on his luck. Catching her gaze, Kyle raised an eyebrow. "You know, I feel a bit awkward sitting here in your husband's robe. He won't mind me being here, will he?" Anna's spoon clattered against her bowl as she huffed out a bitter laugh. "Well, considering he hopped on a plane today to take his mistress on a luxury beach vacation using our joint savings, I'd say his opinion doesn't matter much anymore." Kyle's eyes widened. "Wow, I'm so sorry. That's awful. I thought that kind of thing only happened in movies." "Yeah, well, that makes two of us," Anna said, blinking back tears. "I'll be filing for divorce as soon as he gets back. Thankfully, this apartment is in my name, inherited from my parents, so he'll be the one looking for a new place to live." They finished the meal in thoughtful silence. The emotional and physical exhaustion of the day finally caught up with Anna, and she found herself struggling to keep her eyes open. Kyle cleared their dishes, and gently suggested she get some rest. Embarrassed at nearly falling asleep at the table, Anna showed Kyle how to access the guest account on her laptop before retiring to her room. She was out the moment her head hit the pillow, too drained to wonder about the wisdom of leaving a near stranger unsupervised in her home. The next morning, Anna woke to the blaring of her alarm, her head fuzzy and her heart heavy as memories of Andrew's betrayal came flooding back. Stumbling out to the living room, she found her laptop sitting on the coffee table with a handwritten note. "Anna, thank you for your incredible kindness and generosity. You quite possibly saved my life last night. I apologize for leaving without a proper goodbye, but I had to get an early start. Don't worry, your computer is exactly as you left it. I hope you'll let me make it up to you someday soon. We will meet again. Kyle." Anna clutched the note, torn between disappointment at his abrupt departure and an odd flutter of anticipation. Kyle was still a mystery, but his promise of seeing her again left her feeling hopeful for the first time in longer than she could remember. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur as Anna threw herself into work, determined to keep her mind off Andrew's betrayal and Kyle's enigmatic note. She systematically collected Andrew's belongings to donate, boxing up the detritus of their failed marriage. Divorce papers were drawn up and left unsigned on the kitchen counter for his return. One evening, Anna walked home from the corner market, arms laden with groceries. As she turned the corner onto her block, she spotted Andrew pacing angrily in front of her building. Her heart dropped. He wasn't supposed to be back for 2 more days. "There you are!" Andrew shouted when he saw her approach. "Why the hell did you change the locks? Give me your key!" "What are you doing here?" Anna asked, willing her voice not to shake. "You're not supposed to be back yet." Andrew sneered. "What? Disappointed you couldn't play house with your little boyfriend longer? Yeah, the neighbors told me all about your male visitor. Figures you'd screw around the second I left." "You're one to talk," Anna snapped, incredulous at his hypocrisy. "And Kyle is just a friend who needed help. Not that it's any of your business." Andrew grabbed her arms, causing her to drop the groceries. They spilled across the sidewalk. "I've had enough of your attitude. Give me that damn key and then take a walk. I don't want to see your face for a few hours." Suddenly, a roaring engine cut through the tense confrontation as 2 sleek black SUVs pulled up to the curb. The doors flew open and several imposing men in suits stepped out. Andrew and Anna both froze in confusion. From behind the wall of muscle emerged a familiar figure, Kyle. But this was a very different Kyle from the vulnerable man Anna had met 2 weeks prior. This Kyle exuded power and confidence as he strode towards them purposefully. Without a word, Kyle cocked back his fist and slammed it into Andrew's jaw, sending him sprawling backwards into a snowbank. Andrew sputtered and flailed, his eyes wide with shock and fear. Kyle turned to Anna, his expression softening. "Are you all right? I leave you alone for 2 weeks and you're already inviting trouble back into your life," he teased gently. Anna gaped at him, stunned by the sudden turn of events. "Kyle, what's going on? Who are you?" He flashed her a roguish grin. "Let's just say I'm someone who keeps his promises. I told you I'd make it up to you, didn't I?" He gestured to the open door of the idling SUV. "Now, what do you say we go inside and catch up over some tea?" Anna busied herself in the kitchen, brewing a pot of chamomile tea, while Kyle settled on the couch in her living room. Her mind buzzed with questions, but she couldn't deny the warm feeling of safety and comfort that Kyle's presence brought. Carrying 2 steaming mugs, Anna joined him on the couch, tucking her feet up under her. Kyle accepted the tea with a smile, his fingers brushing hers and sending a tingle up her arm. "So," Anna began, blowing gently on her tea, "are you going to tell me what that was all about outside, and how you managed to go from homeless to Bruce Wayne in just 2 weeks?" Kyle chuckled. "Let's just say that the trouble I was in when we met has been resolved. Your kindness that night, letting me use your computer, it made all the difference. I was able to access some critical information and turn the tables on the people who were after me." He reached out and squeezed her hand. "I meant what I said in that note, Anna. You saved me, and I always repay my debts." Anna searched his face, seeing nothing but sincerity in his warm gaze. She took a deep breath. "Kyle, I don't know what kind of world you're involved in, but I'm just a normal woman dealing with a lying, cheating scumbag of a soon-to-be ex-husband. You don't owe me anything. I respectfully disagree, Kyle replied, setting down his mug. You showed me compassion when I was at my lowest point. You trusted me, a complete stranger, based on nothing more than your good heart. That means something to me. He slid closer, his knee brushing her thigh. I know you're going through a lot right now with your divorce. Let me help. My lawyers can make sure you get everything you deserve from that snake. And as for Andrew, if he ever lays a hand on you again, he'll have to answer to me and my men. Anna's heart raced at his proximity, at the fierce protectiveness in his voice. She knew she should be warier, should question his motives and background more, but the sincerity and care in his eyes made her want to trust him implicitly. I don't know what to say, she admitted softly. Kyle smiled, raising a hand to gently cup her cheek. You don't have to say anything. Just let me be here for you. Let me show you that there are still good men in this world who would never take you for granted. Tears pricked at Anna's eyes, and she leaned into his touch, letting his strength and warmth envelop her. For the first time since Andrew's betrayal, she felt a flicker of hope in her heart. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of a new chapter, one where she wouldn't have to face the world alone, one where a chance encounter with a mysterious stranger in an alley would lead to the love story she'd always dreamed of. Only time would tell. But with Kyle by her side, Anna was ready to turn the page and find out.